So you talked about intent when people are analyzing their motivations for their past conduct, for better or worse. What's your intent in the tour? And how do you orient your intent before you go on stage?
Mm-hmm. So interestingly, I had a woman that works for me, and she's the COO of one of my companies, great, incredibly impressive woman named Jamie. And she was at one of these live events. And I got asked during the Q&A, someone said, hey, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
You know, and she, who hears me speak all the time, she told me afterwards, she said, when I got asked that question, she wanted to hear what I was going to say, because she never really thought about, like, why does he do that? Because she kind of knows my life situation, my financial situation, where I'm at in the world. She kind of knows. And she never really thought to ask me, like, why are you on tour right now? Why are you doing this? Why aren't you just relaxing, sitting by doing whatever it is you want to do?
Yeah.
And she waited for my answer. And my answer was to try and help people out.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, at this juncture.
So so let's delve into that a little bit. There's two things you brought up there that I think are particularly interesting. One is the automatic assumption on the part of people who might be asking the question why, that if everyone had their druthers, they would be sitting on a beach relaxing. And like, people ask me, I was home visiting my parents recently, and my mother said to me, don't you ever relax? Because I was working while I was there on all sorts of things. And I said to her, I don't know, I'm not that interested in relaxing. Like, to some degree, I don't even know what that means. Like, if I'm tired, well, I'll sit down, and maybe I'll watch a stupid comedy or something, because that's all that's left of me, I think Tammy and I watched Legally Blonde the other night, and that was about right, because I'd been writing all day, and it was stupidly funny. Yeah, right. And so fine. But as a goal, like, my goal is not to relax. Like, I think my goal is to have as an adventurous a time as I can possibly manage. I've been writing about the book of Abraham in this new book I'm writing. And Abraham, the conception of God in the book of Abraham is that God is the voice that calls you to adventure. And that the most devout path is the path with the highest adventure. Yeah, I really like that. Because, your life is not going to be justified by satisfaction or satiation. That's for infants. There's going to be plenty of pain. And so there's no escape from pain. And so you might say, well, if you can't be satisfied and there's no escape from pain, then there's no hope. But if the point is the adventure, well, that's just not true. Then the adventure can justify the pain and the lack of satiation. So you said, back to the adventure, a tour is an adventure, but you said that your prime motivation is to help people. Okay, so let's dig into that a bit. We could get skeptical about it. It's like people might say, like the postmodernist types, the neo-Marxist types would say, well, that's just your cover for, like, your dominance, your power striving. You've made lots of money. You're famous. People know who you are. It's like, and because that's not enough for you, you have to add this overlay. It's, oh yeah, and by the way, I'm just doing this to help people, right? So that's the very cynical attitude. But you can understand that that's a justifiable criticism. And if you were narcissistic, it would also be a genuine criticism. So why do you think it is that why do you think your claim that you're helping people is justified? And if it's justified, why do you think that you find helping people intrinsically rewarding?
Going back to my career in the military, I think this is where I initially learned this, because as you're coming up in the military, you're going up in the ranks and you're getting moved into more positions of responsibility, and you're going out and conducting operations and all those things that you do inside the military in your career. And what I found more than anything else was where I got gratification and what felt like I actually did something good was when I'd see a guy that I had worked with, that I had mentored, that I had trained, when I'd see them step up and excel. And be able to achieve things and be able to accomplish things. Yeah. That was more gratifying than me doing it myself. And so I think that I started to notice that's what really...
When did you notice that? How old were you?
Probably 29, 30,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
along
okay.
those. So I was in a leadership position. I started to have people working, that were my direct reports. But I realized, I can really help this person. Like, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Right. And inside the military, inside the SEAL teams, it's like there's a mission that you're going to do, and there's a certain way to conduct that mission. And this person that had only been doing this job for 3 years might not know that. And I knew it. And
Yeah.
there's not too many things that you know
Yeah.
really well. You go, oh, I can show you how to do this.
Yeah.
And instead of just saying, hey, I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, I can show you how to do this, you can follow my lead. Instead of having that attitude, it's an attitude of like, hey, you're going to be just as capable as I am.
Yeah.
At some point, I can help you along the
More
way.
even.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to
Yeah,
make them more
yeah,
capable.
yeah.
And this is something that comes from jiu-jitsu as well. In jiu-jitsu, if you and I train jiu-jitsu and we've both been training the same amount of time, sure, it'll come down to like who's bigger and stronger. But I realized, hey, there's always someone has been training longer than me, and they're going to be able to beat me.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make them a better human being than me. It just means that they've been training longer for me. And that applies to just about everything, right? So if the skill of being a SEAL and planning a mission, I might be better than you right now, but over time, I should be able to train you, and you should be able to, like you said, get better than I am. And so I felt that left the biggest mark
Yeah.
on my soul of being able to help people out. And then when I got out of the military and I started kind of teaching the same leadership principles that I had learned, and then I started getting that same feedback. And then with writing kids' books, like that was a
Right,
whole
right.
new level. When you have a kid that comes up and says, hey, I did my first pull-up, or I got an A on my math test, or I learned all my times tables, and the parents like have tears in their
Yeah,
eyes and
right.
they're saying thank you. There's nothing better than that.
Okay, so I think that's actually true. I do think there's nothing better than that.